It's just water. There's no other word to describe it. Just when I give it away, I need it. They stop. And it was painful to do because it's bouclé. Pick your eyes killed for that. In Brittany, how do you say that? Bretagne. C'est en Bretagne. Which is supposed to be a round line, to suddenly have a on the back. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 56 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 9th of July 2025 and I'm coming to you from the French speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. For today's program, I have one finished object. I have 2 works in progress and 1 future cast on. I mean, I have a swatch. And I have some acquisitions that I have already shown you in the summer plans, but if you didn't watch the summer plans, I'm gonna show them again very quickly at the end. And then a little bit of live stuff, and then that's it. Alright, so let's get started immediately with what I am wearing, which is... It's finished, but not completely, because I would like to tweak a few things on it. So this is my muscle tank design. It's basically it's like a t-shirt, like a basics t-shirt, except you don't have the sleeves in, so it's a tank top. So it has the close crew neck. It's a little bit pulled down by the mic, but it's supposed to be a little bit higher and closer like that. And it has the raw edges on the sleeve, and I made it. Wow, I should close this. It's gonna look better. There you go. I made it longer than I usually do. Usually I do cropped stuff like this. So this is something that I can do a French tuck with, like that. Or I can just completely tuck it inside my pants. And yeah, that's how it looks like. And it has pretty deep armholes, which I did on purpose. If I was wearing a bra, it would definitely show, but I think it's kind of the magic behind muscle tanks, is that the side of your bra shows. I don't know why, in my head, it's how they're supposed to look like. But yeah, the pattern includes instructions on how to shorten the armhole if you don't want to have it go this low. Yeah, and the star of the show is the armholes, and especially the width of the shoulders, which is supposed to be designed to go right at the tip of the shoulder here, but on mine it doesn't, because the yarn I used, this is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorway Dark Sea Green, and it's a cotton and wool blend, so 70% cotton, 30% wool if I'm not mistaken. And I underestimated how much the wool would make the fabric curl, because it's curling quite a bit. If I lift my arms especially, it kind of falls into this shape, and this is not a muscle tank, this is just a tank top, which is not the point. And yeah, it's completely rolling in, and if I undo the edge until where it's supposed to hit, this is a muscle tank, because it hits right at the tip of the shoulder, kind of, and that's what it's supposed to look like. This is muscly. This is just a tank top. I mean, it depends on your preference, but the way I graded it was so that it would fit exactly to the tip of the shoulders, and mine doesn't because of the yarn choice. Now, I have done a swatch with another yarn, because this is the fingering weight version, but the pattern is also going to have a DK weight version, and this is my future cast on swatch, and this is 100% linen, as you can tell from the absolutely otherworldly drape. I mean, it's gorgeous. And this one is not rolling at all, like really at all. Even if I try, it just doesn't. It's just a flat piece of fabric, which this is not, because this is 100% linen or plant-based thread, yarn. Is it a yarn if there's no wool in it? Whereas this one has the wool, and it's behaving like this. Now, I also added a little trick on the edge to prevent it from rolling. I tried a different thing on each side, but you cannot see it because it's a nifty trick. And neither of the edges roll, but I think I'm gonna go with this side. You will see when you have the pattern what I did, but yeah. And it involves 3 stitches at the end of the row to do this non-rolling edge. But I think if you use a yarn that has a wool content like this one, this trick won't be enough to prevent the edge from rolling. So if you're not using a 100% plant-based yarn and you are worried about rolling, you can swap the 3 edge stitches that do the non-rolling trick for an I-cord edge. So you just slip 3 stitches on the wrong side. And I can't do neither of those options after the fact. However, what I can do is pick up the stitches all around the armhole and do an I-cord edge on that. And it's gonna have exactly the same finish as if I had done the I-cord at the same time as the fabric, except I'm gonna have to do it after the fact. But I think that's what I'm gonna do because this is absolutely not representative of how the pattern is supposed to fit. Because, as I said, this is just a tank top and I want a muscle tank. And the other thing I wanted to change is the bottom hem, because I did a simple bind off here at the edge, but I think I did it a little bit too loose and it's flaring out a tiny bit. If I take it off, you can see it's like whoop, which is probably because, as I said, the bind off is too loose, and also because this yarn has wool content, so it's curling a little bit more than I would want. For example, this one, you can see the bottom edge. I don't even know which one is the bottom. Yeah, this is the bind off. It's just laying completely flat. And this one doesn't. Also, this one is wet blocked, this one is steam blocked. And by the way, I took a video of when I steam blocked it. So you can see how bad it was curling. And as soon as I hovered over it with the steam, it completely flattened out. But once you have the fabric on you and you move around and you kind of relax the block stitches into their final shape, this happens. And I think if I wet block it, it's going to be less visible, the slight curling in. But I'm just not a fan of the way it looks. I think I love raw edges at the bottom. I do this a lot on my garments, especially on summer garment stuff. But for this particular one, I think I would prefer to have a clean finish, like a folded over hem. I think I would prefer that because it would match the neckline as well. And yeah, if I do an I-cord bind off on this side, I think I would just prefer to have a folded over hem. So I'm just gonna have to undo the bind off and do this. It shouldn't take too long, I think, I hope. But anyway, in the pattern, I'm gonna put all the different options for the bottom hem. So you have simple bind off, you have the anti-roll bind off, which is a handy technique if you want to have the simple look, minimalistic look like this one, but just without it rolling up. You can use the anti-roll technique. And the folded over hem is going to be included as well as an I-cord bind off. Since you have the option to do I-cord here, I wanted also to have the I-cord bind off possibility. So that's 4 options. I'm going to pick the folded over hem, as I mentioned, redo the edging on those, and then this is finally going to be finished completely. Until now, I have used 2 50-gram balls and a half. I think this is about half, I guess. So I'm going to use probably 130 grams total. And this yarn, it's the first time I'm using it for Positive Ease next to skin garment. I have used it for like fitted negative ease top, which is itchy. So I thought maybe if it's Positive Ease and not like clinging to my skin, it's going to be a little bit better. It's better, but it's still a little bit itchy. Especially where it really like hangs on my body, like around the neck and on top of the shoulders. I can definitely feel it. It's okay, like I have to scratch myself a few times, but it's not too bad, and it's definitely wearable. I don't know how it will be if I'm hot, because for now it's quite cool in my apartment. And I just finished it this morning, so I haven't really worn it when it's hot. So I don't really know how it's gonna go in the real heat of summer. We will see. For now, it's okay. It's just not perfect, but it's completely okay for me. The only moment where it's really annoying is like when I'm sitting on a chair or even on my couch and I lean on my back. There I can really feel the itch where I'm touching, where there is pressure on the garment. So that's kind of bothering me, but again, everything is itchy anyway, so my level of tolerance towards itchiness is a little bit higher. In a perfect world, I would never wear anything itchy, but so many things are itchy that, yeah, whatever, you get the idea. And yeah, as I mentioned, this is my future cast-on. I swatched this yarn. This is Ericanite Studio Linen. It's 85% recycled, 15% premium linen. It has an incredible drape, and this is a DK weight. In the skein form, it looks pretty random, like nothing, it's just a thread of yarn. And this is how it looks like in the cake. Same, it's just completely random yarn, nothing particularly special about it. But the swatch, as I showed you, this is like, it's just water. There's no other word to describe it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And can you imagine a tank top in this? Oh my god, it's gonna be awesome. However, I'm having issues with my gauge because this is 27 stitches. I was aiming for 26, but I couldn't hit it because I'm a tight knitter, and I already went up to 3.25 for the flat. And when I switched to in the round, I went down to 3 because I need looser when I'm in the round. Whatever, I didn't want it to go up to 3.5. That felt a little bit overkill for such a thin fingering weight yarn like this one. So I stuck to 3.25 and the 27 stitch gauge. And to me, this is a perfectly like okay fabric. It's not see-through because, as you can tell, if it's see-through, it's a problem for me. And yeah, I think if I had pushed it to a bigger gauge, it would be yeah, a little bit on the verge of being see-through. So I think 27 is a good gauge for this. But since I wanted to also have a DK weight version, I wanted the DK gauge to be far enough from the fingering weight gauge. Otherwise, there is no point in making a whole other pattern. I mean, it's going to be in the same pattern. But yeah, a whole other pattern for a different gauge if they are too close from each other. So I really wanted to hit 21 stitch gauge with this one, which is one of the gauges that are suggested. So it's 120 meters for 50 grams and 21 to 22 stitches in 10 centimeters on 3.75 or 4 millimeter needles, so US 5 or 6, and I used 6, so 4 millimeter needles. And I have 23 stitches, like wherever I measure, and even sometimes it's 24, like 23, I just can't do any looser than that, and the fabric is already a little bit see-through, as you can see me behind. I mean, if I have my hands like this and I open my fingers, it's just fine, so it's gonna be completely okay like that. And the fabric is already incredible, but I'm already using 4. And I can only go up to 4.5. And I don't think I can get 2 stitch difference if I go a whole 5 millimeter needle size up. I wish there was a 4.25 millimeter needle, but I don't think it exists. I mean, not in the standard needle sizes. I know like Japanese needle sizes or stuff like that have completely different ranges of sizes, but yeah, in the standard needle size, 4.25 doesn't exist. And I think that's what I would have needed to hit the 21 stitch gauge. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna try with a 4.5, but yeah, it's already kind of loose. I just don't understand how people can knit a DK weight yarn like at a 17 stitch gauge. It's completely beyond me. Like, this is already so loose in my head, and 23, 17 stitches, same weight yarn, I just don't understand. It amazes me. I hope one day I can be confident enough to have such a loose fabric, but yeah, this is not the day. Anyway, I'm going to try with the 4.5 and see what happens. If the suggested gauge is 21, I guess it should work out, even if it's completely see-through. We'll have to see. And maybe since this is linen, if I really wash it and wear it a lot, it's going to bloom and fill out the holes or something like that. I don't know. I blocked this one, I let it soak for 24 hours in cool water, so that was a thorough block, which is exactly how you're supposed to block linen, so I did things exactly the way they should be done, and yeah, anyway. My other option would be to swatch using 4mm but wooden needles, because I use metal, and definitely I think if I use wooden needle my gauge is going to loosen because the stitches are not going to slide as easily and I won't be able to knit as tightly. So I should do that. And I really wanted to do it. And right when I was about to swatch, I wanted to grab my first set of interchangeable needles, which are wooden, that I bought at the very beginning of my knitting journey. And I realized I have given it away a couple of months ago. I held on to them for like 4 years, 5 years even. And just a couple of months ago, I ended up giving them away to a friend of mine that just started knitting. And I told her, do not buy a new needle set, I'm gonna give you mine. I haven't touched it in 4 years. And just when I give it away, I need it. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy another pair of wooden needles because I'm probably never gonna use them aside from for this. So I will just try with the 4.5 metal needles and we will see what happens. And hopefully it works out and I don't end up with like a 20 stitch gauge and something completely see-through. All right, now let's talk about my work in progress. This is my Patagonia Peaks sweater. And this is what it's looking like. I have finished the sleeve and I have put on the button band, the button placket here, and I even put in the buttons. Oh, they are snap buttons and they snap. And yeah, it's looking awesome. The bottom is not done. I had finished the bottom hem already, but I unraveled it because I wanted to change it. Because here, I mean, the first time I did it, I made a folded over hem, so I knit in stockinette for twice as long, and then I bound off each live stitch with one stitch I picked up from the beginning of the contrasting color hem. And I did that for the whole round. However, it was too dense. It was way too dense. Even if I decreased quite a lot of stitches before doing that. And it used a lot of yarn because I had to cover twice the length of the hem. And it was painful to do because it's bouclé and I had to pick up the stitches and do the bind off and knitting together. And yeah, it was just a pain to do. It wasn't fun. And for the cuff here, I did just a I-cord bind off. So I did one round of decreases and then I did a 5-stitch I-cord bind off, and the look is the same except it uses a lot less yarn. It's faster to do because you have to knit less. Even if I-cord bind off take ages, it's less time consuming to do a 5-stitch I-cord bind off than to knit like 8 rows and then do a bind off while you pick up. Yeah, this is twice shorter to do. And I still have a channel, and inside this I have inserted an elastic so that it cinches in a little bit, and I have a cute little cuff and it goes around my wrist like that, and it's perfect and I love it. Yeah, so I'm gonna do the same for the bottom hem. So I had to redo it, so I had to undo the thing, and this is a lot of yarn, and hopefully I'm going to use only half for the new version, which is good, and also which is why it's going to be a lot less dense because there's going to be twice as less material, yarn, inside the thing for the same end result. So yeah, I think it's a good call. Now, and then I only have the second sleeve to do, and I have to install the pocket lining inside. I just have the thing hanging out like this. I'm gonna do it in fabric because if I knit it, it's gonna be way too thick here. So I'm just gonna sew 2 rectangles of fabric together and then sew the opening on each side of the opening here and call it a day. Yeah, so let me do a quick try on, hopefully without losing 20 stitches. I am tangled in my yarn. I can't fit. I need to put it on tubing, but I don't have anything. All right, take 2. I look like a clown. And it's exactly what I wanted. So there you go. I hope the mic is not being too pushed around by the fabric, but yeah, this is what it's looking like. I think I'm gonna have to go down here. Yeah! I'm so happy. Wait, how can I do this? Yeah, this is good. So I have my sleeve, perfect length, and body, perfect length. Again, my belly button is here, my hips are here, and then it's gonna be, can I do this? Yeah, if I pull on this, yeah, it's gonna be pulled in like that, and then this is perfect. I'm so happy. This is awesome. So yes, my Patagonia Peaks. So as you can tell, it's a colorwork kind of fleece jacket thing with a 3/4 zip button thing with a high collar in double thickness. And I did, can you see how clean this is on both sides? Clean? Clean. I mean, and if I open this, they join together down here, and it just stands up. This is the exact perfect shape for a collar like this. I'm just so pleased. So yeah, what I did is a double pickup technique. So you pick up from the right side normally, and then when you get to the other side, you pick up the floats from your pickup, and then you knit in the round for a couple of rounds, and then you decrease all the stitches from the wrong side, and then you continue doing your button band just as normal. This is knit in garter stitch, the button placket. And then you have encased the pickup braid that would be otherwise visible on the wrong side. And especially since you're using a contrasting color, you're gonna have like your contrasting color button placket, and then a braid of the main color, and then a braid of the contrasting color, and it just doesn't look clean at all. That being said, if you use the same color for the button placket than for the yoke, you can just do a normal pickup. You don't need to fuss around with the double pickup technique because it's quite involved. I have filmed a whole tutorial from beginning to end, taking you step by step through each and every single step of this. Like if you have already done Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, you know, when he literally takes you step by step, like stitch after stitch, line of instructions after line of instructions, everything is explained. This is exactly what I did for for this part, because the instruction, I think the written instructions are clear enough to do the whole thing without having the video, but if you are a little bit scared or if you are a little bit lost at some point, you can just follow the video. It was a pain to do. I hate filming tutorials, but I did it for you guys. Because yeah, I thought this is really worth the effort, I think, to mess around with the double pickup technique, and I would like everyone to be able to do it. So yes, I did that. And I learned about the technique by watching a video from Roxanne Richardson. Of course, she does everything, and I love watching her videos, especially the Technique Tuesdays, because you always learn something that you didn't even knew you needed. Like I had no idea double pickup existed. I didn't even realize it would be useful to hide the inside pickup chain when you do something like this. Like it didn't even cross my mind, and then I saw the video and I was like, of course, this is genius. And it's, I mean, the logic behind it is so easy. Yeah. So I was super pleased to be able to include this detail in there. And yeah, again, it's optional. You do what you want. So yeah, I'm super hot and I'm super happy about this. I'm glad the sleeve is the correct length because, as you can tell, the motif repeat is huge. So there was quite a bit of... It was very possible that this was not going to fit. That being said, we did a photo shoot for this bad boy at the beginning of this week. And we went, so with my photographer as usual, Alexia, and with my friend Anna, who is absolutely beautiful, and she's like so good at modeling, and she's just a natural in front of the camera. So I was super happy to put this on her. But she's a little bit smaller than me, and we have the same bust measurements. However, her shoulders are a lot narrower than mine, and I just have a wider upper frame. But we have the same bust measurement. And on me, you can see this is kind of aligned. The sleeve is falling a little bit further down because I sized up. This is a size 3. And for my bust, I should have need a size 2, but I just wanted more positive ease, so I sized up. So the shoulder is falling a little bit like a drop shoulder, which means that this line is further down. If I had the correct size, it would be probably more like this. So they would be completely aligned, but it's not the case. But you can see the difference is very, very small. It's like, what, 1 centimeter or something like that? But on my friend, who, again, we have the same bust size, but her shoulders are narrower, on her, it falls down like this. Because she's not feeling the shoulder as much as I do, so this seam is falling down a lot lower than on me. And it's just funny to see because, again, we have the same bust measurement, but the shoulders are different, so the overall fit is completely different. Which means that on her, this sleeve would be too long. So yeah, I included in the pattern a lot of guidance on how to size up or down depending on how much positive ease you want. And I warn you, if you want to size up, you're probably going to have issues with the sleeve length. But I decided to do things in a clean way, and I have included all the different decrease rates depending on how many repeats you put on the sleeve. So this is the base repeat is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats. But I included the decrease rates if you do only 4 repeats, so if you cut the sleeve here, and 6 repeats if you want to lengthen the sleeve. So you have all the possibilities included in the pattern, and you don't need to do the math. You're welcome. So yeah, what did I wanted to say? Yes, for the bottom, a few people mentioned, commented that I should maybe use a bigger elastic and add a cord stopper, like those guys, which is like it's a cord stopper. Why do I say stopper? A cord stopper. Yeah, and I just have to insert the other end in this, and then, insert it around the body first, and then insert, where is it? Oh my god. It has the exact same color as the needle stitch holder. Yeah, so around me like this, and then insert it into the thing, and then I can close it more or less. I think I cut it a little bit short. It's a little bit too short. But yeah, you get the idea. Because at first I had used the thin elastic like this, and I had folded like 4 times, I think. But yeah, I wasn't sure about how much cinching in to put in, and I just wasn't sure. And it's like once you do the knot and you cut it, it's done. And if you want to change it, you have to cut it completely, remove the thing, redo the fold, rethread the thing. Yeah, it's a mess. And a few people suggested that I use an elastic like this with a cord stopper so that I can just change the length when I want, as needed, when the thing is already on. And the funny thing is that this was my first idea, but for some reason I thought finding elastics like this and a cord stopper would be difficult. It's absolutely not. You can find them so easily on the internet. It wasn't even difficult, so yeah, this is definitely a better option. And it's also more durable. It's just sturdier in the long run, so yeah, this is definitely a better option. I haven't told you about the yarn. So this is Knit Picks Bubbly Boucle. The colorways are written up here, and I have 4 colors. So the main color is the one here. The first contrast color is the one you use for the edgings everywhere, and then you have the 2 next contrast colors. So here it's my purple and my teal that are used throughout. However, you can go with how many contrasting colors you want. You can use 2, you can use 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can use a different color for each stripe if you want to use leftovers. whatever you want, whatever please your fancy, it's gonna work out anyway, and it's gonna look good anyway. Like, yeah, you just do whatever. And also the funny thing is that this is not blocked. So this is what it looks like, just fresh off the needles. And from my swatch, I know that it's not gonna move a lot. Neither of my swatches moved a single centimeter in either direction. It didn't stretch out or stretch out. So I don't think it's gonna move too much. Maybe the garter is gonna behave a little bit differently, but I have the slip stitches detailed around the shoulders and on the shoulder here. And those are very tight. I mean, they are what's making the fabric sturdier, so it shouldn't move too much either. Also here on this side, it's very dense and it's holding the thing. So yeah, we shouldn't have too many accidents after blocking. So I'm confident about that. And I just wanted to mention also for the sizing. So as I said, this is size 3. The sizing is made using the full bust for once. If you have knit any of my other patterns, most of my other patterns, you know I usually use the upper bust because it's a better representation of how the shoulders are shaped on the body, whereas the full bust is like, you can have a small frame with a big bust and you can have a big frame with a small bust. And if you select a size based on your full bust, whatever can happen on the shoulders, you never know. So I usually use the upper bust because it's better. However, for this one, the shoulders, they are important in regards of how low the shoulder is going to drop there. But then, other than that, maybe it's going to affect the sleeve length, as I mentioned, but there are guidance in the pattern on how to add or remove a repeat if your sleeve is too long or too short, so you should be covered. And when using the upper bust, what can happen is that if you are like very busty and you have a small upper bust because you have small shoulders, but you have big breasts, you are going to have the correct positive ease around the shoulders, but you're going to have negative ease around the full bust because you used your upper bust, which is smaller than your full bust. And with that, it's not really possible because this is color work with long floats. So, mine is a little bit stretchy because I use the ladderback jacquard, but it has a lot less stretch than a normal, say, stockinette fabric or something like that. So you cannot really have a lot of negative ease. Like if you select a size on your upper bust and you have positive ease around here, but suddenly you have negative ease at the bust, this is not going to stretch out a lot to accommodate for that. So it's not really working that way, which is why I decided to size with the full bust. That way you never have the issue of having negative ease if you want the correct fit on the shoulders. Also because having correct fit on the shoulders is not really important. I don't. This should be like this, and yeah, it looks good like this, but it also looks good like this. Doesn't matter. So you can do kind of whatever you want around the shoulders. And again, there is guidance in the pattern on how to select the size, and you can size up or down however you want. You can go from 5 to 32 centimeters of positive ease. So that's from 2 inches to 13. I have 13 here, so I have exactly 32 centimeters of positive ease. It's huge, but it's made to be huge, and this is what it's supposed to look like. If you hide the other sleeve, yeah, this is the look. And the yoke depth is not too deep, the neckline is not droopy or too big around me. It's just looking good. So yeah, I designed it so that you can have the positive ease you want, and it should work out. I'm too hot, and I think I'm done with this one, so I'm just gonna remove it. I will admit that even with the ladderback jacquard technique, I am still catching all the floats whenever I put this on and off. Hopefully, when I wash and block it, the floats are going to the fabric, because boucle is very sticky. Like, it's an absolute nightmare to unravel. And yeah, hopefully once I block it, it's not gonna be as easy to stick my fingers. I can't do it here for some reason, but yeah, stick my fingers behind the float like that. Hopefully, we'll see. And I also still have to sort the little bits that are showing up here. That's when I decrease the ladderback jacquard stitches. But yeah, I just have to go through and pull on the fabric on the back to make those disappear, but that's a job for later. So yeah, that's my Patagonia Peaks, and the test call for both of these bad boys, so this one and this one, is coming next Monday, hopefully. The edits are almost done. I just need to do the DK weight version of this one. But if the fingering weight version is completed, it's going to be super easy to just transfer to DK because this is an easy pattern. Whereas this one is not. Yeah, so the test call should be coming next Monday. I just need to do the last modifications on this one so that I can take actual finished object pictures. We did a photo shoot for this one, as I mentioned, and I also took pictures of this, but it wasn't finished. It was like the body was absolutely not finished and the sleeves were like that. So I'm gonna have to snap a few other pictures and hopefully I can do those modifications before Sunday if I want the test call to be out Monday. And if the second sleeve is not finished for this one, it's not the end of the world because I have weighed exactly how much yarn I used for this sleeve, so I know exactly how much I used for the whole thing. So I can do the yarn estimates pretty accurately, and I just need to finish the bottom hem. Shouldn't take too long, I think. However, I have a lot of other things to knit, which I'm gonna show right now, so yeah. Test call should be out Monday. Keep your eyes peeled. Pick your eyes peeled for that. Keep your eyes peeled for that. It's gonna come out on Instagram, and maybe I will also do a little community post thing on YouTube, and I will let it open for 3 to 4 days. We'll see, something like that. So yeah, I'm so excited. The Patagonia Peaks only has 8 sizes because the repeat on the body, the repeat is huge, and I need to go with increments of 2 repeats, and it's more than 10 centimeters. Usually between each size I have about 10 centimeters difference, so 4 inches. So to go from the smallest size to fit a bust of 80 centimeters, I think it goes down to 72 centimeters, to fit a bust from 72 centimeters up to 165 or something like that, I don't remember. It's only 8 sizes, which is a bit annoying because it means that the difference between each size is pretty big. However, as I mentioned, you can go with any positivity. So even if the gaps between the sizes are big, you should be able to find a size that will fit you correctly, hopefully. And this one is the opposite. I have 11 sizes. Usually I go with 9 or 10, depending. I tend to go with 10 lately, but this one I had to go with 11 because if you deduct the biggest amount of ease from the biggest size or the smallest size, it still needs to fit a full bust from 80 centimeters to 160. And if I did that with 10 sizes, you couldn't go up to the biggest amount of ease, so it wasn't size inclusive, so I had to add another size. Yeah, whatever. It has 11 sizes, and the difference between each size is about 10 centimeters, so 4 inches. Whew. Maya from the future, I forgot to tell you how the sizing of this one is made. So, this one also uses full bust. However, the best way to select size is based on your cross, front or back measurement. Everything is explained in the pattern, but very quickly. Basically, you need to measure yourself. Do I have a tape measure? So you can measure the cross front. So if you touch your shoulder like this, you can feel there is one part here where you can feel the bone. This is the actual bone. This is just muscle tissues, and here, this is the bone, the shoulder bone. So you measure the distance from both of those here, the bone, from here to here. And for me, it's like 36 centimeters, which is, if you look at the chart measurement for my bust size, this is the correct measurement, 36 centimeters. Now, if I measure from the back, so same, you touch around your shoulder and it's like a corner sticking out here, and you can touch it like this. So you measure from this corner to the other one back here, and you need to be wearing the garment you're going to be wearing under the thing you're measuring for. So for example, this, I'm not wearing anything underneath, but if you're doing like a sweater or something, you need to wear the t-shirt or the underlayer you're going to wear when you are when you will be wearing the thing. So I measure from the bones to the bones and try to be relaxed in the position you're usually standing in. And of course, if you have your arms up like this is going to force the measurement slightly. So it's better to have someone else measure for you, but for the sake of this example, I'm going to do it myself. And here I measure 41 centimeters, which is 5 centimeters more than the front, and that's not usual. No. Usually you should have the same measurement on front and back, but whatever. Let's say for you, you have 37 centimeters on front and back, and that's 14.5 inches. And you add 2 centimeters or a little bit less than an inch to this measurement. So if you have 37 centimeters, you go to 39 centimeters, and if you have 14.5 inches, that's going to be 15.25 inches or 15.5, something like that. And then you go to the sizing chart in the pattern and you look at the cross back / front measurement and you select the size that has the closest match from this measurement. And if you do this, regardless of what happens in the full bust, you're going to have this, if it's not rolling in like mine is, that's hitting exactly at the correct measurement. Now, I did take into account that it's going to roll in a little bit, but mine is rolling in a lot. But if you do the edging like I have included in the pattern, it's going to come in a bit because there is no tension on the fabric, and since the whole garment is hanging on this, the fabric is going to like elongate this way and shrink in this way, which is why you need to add the 2 centimeters I mentioned. But that way you're going to have the edge that's going to hit exactly at the boniest part of your shoulder here on front and back. Again, mine doesn't because it's running in a lot. But yeah, you're supposed to select a size based on your cross back / front. If they are different, if the difference is small, you can just go with the in-between and it's going to fit just fine. If the difference is big, like me, you can knit a different size for front and back, which is what I did for this one. And I'm not going to go through that now, but everything is explained in the pattern if you want to do that. Yeah, so that's the best way. Now, if you, for any reason, you don't want to use your cross front and back measurement and you just want to go with what you know already, which is the full bust, you can totally select a size based on your full bust. Just know that there is a chance the edge of the shoulder here is absolutely not going to fall where it's supposed to. If you have narrow shoulders and a big bust, it's going to be dropping like this. If you have wide shoulders and a small bust like me, for example, if I had just selected the size based on my full bust, it would be even smaller than that. It would be really a tank top like this, which is okay. For some people, it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you really want clean fit over the shoulders, you need to go with the cross front or back measurement. But you don't need to. You do you. Okay, that's all for me now. I'm going to let you go back to present my... All right, let's talk about my next work in progress. It's a test, I was about to say a test call. No, it's a test knit for Rebecca Clow. I still don't know how to say it. The Crea Bear. And this is the Gress tank. Wow, it's an absolute mess. Why do I have so many... I have finished the back panel. It doesn't look like much because it's lace and I need to block it and it's going to expand a lot. But for now it looks very small. And I am working my way through the front panel and it's going to fit like this. Yeah, you get the idea. It's a tank top. It has the same construction as this one, so it's a European shoulder construction where you do the trapezius for the back and then you pick up stitches on the slanted edges and you knit straight until you reach the front and then you do the front neck shaping. And yeah, I'm just working my way through it. I didn't do any modification except I did 2 colors, so the pattern is written for 1 color, but I am changing color for every different texture. So you have the garter bands and the lace bands. And I'm changing color when I do the first lace row and when I do the last lace row. So I don't change during the garter sections, but after and before. And that leaves me with very clean color changes, so that you don't have like a pearl bumps in the contrasting color peeking through, or you don't have like the first row of garter that's in the other color or stuff like that. It was a little bit of trial and error to find the perfect balance, but yeah, I found it, and now it's very clean. And I still have no idea how I'm gonna solve the transparency issue, because as I mentioned, I need something that's no bra friendly. So I will think about it when the time comes, which is not now. And yeah, nothing special to say about that. I did already speak quite a bit about what I was thinking of the pattern in the last episode. And now that I'm finished with all the complicated bits, it's I don't even need the pattern anymore, so I guess I don't have anything more to say. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, there is someone else in the test group, Michelle, which is often testing for me as well. So it was nice to have her also in the test group, because I felt a little bit more secure for some reason, because there was someone I knew in the test group. I don't know, yeah, whatever. And she did tell me that she tests a lot for Rebecca, and she's very used to her patterns, and she had absolutely no problem understanding this one, whereas I had quite a lot of issues. And it's funny because that shows how much being used to someone's writing style makes a huge difference on the experience of the pattern. Because yeah, it was day and night. Because yeah, she just flew through it, and I was struggling on every single line of instructions. So yeah, if you're used to Rebecca Clow's pattern, this is going to be easy breezy for you. If you're not, maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, again, I still managed to have a correct result. I mean, I'm not done yet, but for now it's looking good. It's still a great pattern. It's just a little bit more difficult to understand than I was expecting to, considering how famous of a designer she is, but still, lovely pattern. I'm super happy about this, and I'm very excited to have it finished, because it's lacy, it's lightweight, it's fingering, it's going to be awesome for summer, and I really need it, but it's not finished yet. But yeah, I think I have 2 more weeks left to go, so yeah, shouldn't be a problem. But let me show you what's coming. So I showed you I'm gonna cast on the Muscle Tank DK version, but I also want to cast on something else. I showed this yarn already in my summer plans. This did I even switch them? This is Boucle Laine, that's the name of the brand, and the yarn is Mont d'Arrêt, which is the name of the yarn, but also the location where the brand is. It's a place in France, in Brittany. How do you say that? Bretagne. C'est en Bretagne. And it's an absolutely lovely, very natural and rustic yarn, but it's the kind of rustic that doesn't seem to be itchy. It's like very textured, but not prickly. So I'm very, very hopeful about this. And I really needed a white sweater, and I have one, but it's disgusting and I hate it. So I really wanted another one. And this is Holst Titicaca, and I want to pair them together, hopefully to get a very like lovely, flowy, but also rustic and durable, but soft. Yeah, I'm hopeful that this is going to combine the best qualities of both yarns, and I'm gonna end up with an absolutely beautiful white sweater. No, not a sweater. The original idea was a sweater, but in the meantime I have realized, or rather I have accepted, that I need to stop with sweaters, because I just prefer when a garment is open on the front, because sweaters, they are just so impractical for me. First, it's a mess to put on and off. I mean, you saw with the Patagonia, it's super big, but yeah, it's still, I have to mess with my hair, and my glasses always get caught on. You have to go like this with your arms in the air, and if you're like in a bus or in a train and you're trying to change, then you're gonna hit someone with your elbow, and why are sweaters even a thing? And why do I have so many sweaters in my wardrobe when I don't even like them? I know why, because I love dating it around. But I need more cardigans or just open front stuff in my life. So this is not going to be a sweater, but a cardigan. Cardigan, not sweater. And it's going to be so much more practical for me. First, to put on and off, and also because if I'm overheating, I can just open it up and solve half of the problem, if not the whole problem, instead of having to take it off completely and then be cold. Yeah, just I just prefer cardigan. And I knew it since the beginning, but I was kind of in a denial because I love knitting in Aran, but it's okay. With such a, this is very, very squishy. It has a lot of elasticity and memory. I can tell just from touching it. It's gonna be very nice to knit even flat, because what I don't really like is like yarns that don't have a lot of elasticity. This can hurt my wrist, but a yarn like this, it's perfectly fine to knit flat. So hopefully this should be a nice experience, even if I have to knit it flat. And I can still knit the sleeves in Aran. So at least I have that. The idea for this one, I have a design idea. You know about the Nuit Blanche tee, so it's the basic tee, basic drop shoulder tee with a tuck stitch detail around the arm, and very, very thoughtful shaping around the armholes and the shoulders. And I want to do a sweater version, but I don't want just to change the gauge of the Nuit Blanche, because the Nuit Blanche already comes in 2 gauges. There is the fingering weight, which is 28 stitches, and the DK weight, which is 21 stitches. And this one, I would like to go down to 18 stitches. This is DK weight, and I'm adding something, and this is going to fluff up a lot. So I think I should be able to get down to 18 stitches. And again, it's wild because like I was talking about Rebecca from the Carabea because I'm testing for her, and like all her DK weight patterns are 17 stitches gauge with a DK weight yarn, and I'm like, how do you do that? Please, I want to be like you. So hopefully if I have a DK weight that's going to fluff up a lot and something to hold with it, I can go to 18, which is not even 17. I should be able to do it. I need to swatch. I'm really excited. I really want to swatch. But I need to finish the other guys for the test call before. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. I really want to start, but this is coming. And I didn't finish my story. So I want the gauge to be 18 stitches, which is not one of the gauges in Nuit Blanche. But I also want to change the construction because I want to, and I do what I want. If I was just adding a different gauge to the same construction as the Nuit Blanche, I would just add another gauge to the pattern. But I want to have something different around the shoulders. The Nuit Blanche is like, you cast on for the back, you do a lot of short row shaping for the back neck and the shoulder slope, and then you pick up from the cast on edge, and then you do a lot of shaping for the front neck and the shoulder slope, and then you do a lot of shaping around the underarm, stuff like that. And it's great, it's fun, but I just want to do something different. So I think I'm considering either saddle shoulder or I don't know. There are a lot of different options, but one thing I have to be really careful about is that since I want to keep the tuck detail around the arm, I cannot have any construction that's going to have a corner or something around the armhole, which is going to be the case if I do, for example, a European shoulder, which is the construction of this one, when you do the trapezoidal shape on the back, and then you pick up from the slanted edges to the front. You have the edge, the back panel that's like this, and then you have the slanted edge on the shoulder, and then you pick up from that and you go in this direction, and here is an angle, and that's going to be visible if I do the tuck stitch detail around it. And I don't want the beautiful flowy line of the tuck stitch, which is supposed to be a round line, to suddenly have a on the back. This is big no-no, so no European shoulder construction. And yeah, I don't know. I have a few different options, but I have to swatch and see what the swatch tells me, because it's probably also gonna guide my decision. Yes, that's it for the knitting today. Now a few life updates. I mean life updates. It's still knitting related, kind of. Tour de France, Tour de Fleece have started, and I haven't spun a single gram yet, even though I am so ready. I have everything prepared. But again, I had the photo shoots on the beginning of this week, and it was kind of coming out of nowhere, because I suddenly realized I was missing some pictures for the patterns that are going to come out 2 weeks from now. And it was like Friday, and I wrote to my photographer and I said, hey Alexia, do you have time to do a photo shoot like in 2 days? And she was like, okay. And then I wrote to my friend Anna and I said, hey, are you free for a photo shoot on Monday? And she said, hey, it's the only day of the week where I'm free. So yeah, it was just absolutely perfect. However, I had only 2 days left to power through this and the Patagonia to have them into a stage that was photographable. And I didn't have a single minute to spare to spin something, so I haven't been able to start yet, which is very frustrating, but hopefully this week. I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know. Yeah, very frustrating. Another thing that I wanted to start that I haven't been able to is my stash busting blanket. I showed you in the summer plans my Newton stash in this huge box, and that it was stressing me out, and I wanted to stash down drastically, a lot this summer. So I wanted to cast on just a garter blanket in Newton because it's going to use up yarn very quickly, and I can do like 30 minutes a day every morning before I start my day of designing knitwear, and hopefully have my stash go down thanks to that. However, unexpectedly, I managed to destash a lot of yarn after this video, because I mentioned that in my big Newton stash I had 2.5 sweater quantities that had been attacked by moths in my previous apartment, and now they are completely clean, but they have still a bit of moth cocoon inside them. The moths are gone since long, but yeah, there is a little bit of moth cocoons inside, and it's a little bit disgusting. So I thought I would never be able to find people who would like to take this yarn from me for free, because I'm not going to make anyone pay for yarn that has been attacked by moths, of course. And 2 people reached out, and one of them asked for the blue and the red, burgundy yarns, so I have sent them out already. And then someone else asked if they could have the grey yarn, and it's still there. I'm gonna send it out whenever I go to France, because the shipping is gonna be much less expensive if I ship domestically, because this person is in France. So now I have distashed a lot of yarn, even though I didn't think I would be able to. And now I have less pressure to knit on this stash busting blanket, because the point was to get my stash down, and I have gotten my stash down quite significantly. So I'm like a little bit more chill. And again, I had suddenly had a lot of knitting to do before the photo shoot, so I didn't have the time anyway. And I think in the next few weeks I'm going to prioritize spinning. And I have the double test call next week, and I have double release the week after that for the Nuit Blanche, no, not the Nuit Blanche, for the Olympic camisole and dress, and for the Shine On You top. So double test call, double release, and then I have to write up the pattern of this one, and I would like to send it out to my tech editor at the end of the month. So that's going to be a lot of work. So I'm not sure I'm going to have the time to knit a blanket in the middle of that. So I think the blanket is going to happen more like beginning of August, something like that. We'll have to see. And beginning of August, Tour de Fleece is going to be finished since quite a while. So if I want to spin during Tour de Fleece, I can't wait beginning of August. So I have to get on with it. Yes, anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say. I just told you what's coming up. Double test call, double pattern release, and the white cardigan thing. So that's all for me today. I'm gonna go do another swatch for this, and there is a chance that by the time I finish editing, the other swatch will be done, and I can tell you on the screen if swatching on 4.5mm worked out or not. Hi, it's the next day. I finished editing the video, but believe it or not, I finished the swatch on 4.5, and I finished fixing this guy completely. It's blocked and dry. It's super hot outside, so I just had to let it out for a few hours, and now it's completely dry. So let me go through the new things very quickly, so that you don't have to wait until next podcast in 2 weeks to have the final view of this one. So I added the I-cord bind off on the whole armholes. It did bring the bottom here a little bit higher, which is good because there was a little bit too much side boob action. I really don't mind and I don't care, but it's best to have it a little bit higher than lower, so I don't really mind. And it's absolutely not coming too high, so we're good with that. And yeah, as you can see, now I have the absolute perfect fit over the tip of my shoulders and on the back as well. So if I turn around, I cannot see, but you can see that this is falling perfectly, as it should. And this is how the pattern is going to look like if you use a plant-based yarn, or that you follow the instructions in the pattern and don't try to do just a simple edge with absolutely nothing to prevent the whirling, if you are using a yarn with a wool content. And I also did the bottom hem. This didn't go as well as the rest. Maybe you can tell, yeah, it's still flaring out because there is just a bit too much fabric. I should have decreased stitches before doing the bottom hem, but this really depends on the yarn you use, because I always do those kind of folded over bottom hems, and I always do them the same way. And sometimes it works perfectly, no problem, no flaring out, nothing. And sometimes it does this. So yeah, and it's rippling a little bit. It's just a bit too dense. So I will have to see if I redo it or not, because it's not the end of the world either. And I think most of the time I'm gonna have it. This leggings is a bit too short, but if I do a French tuck, kind of, with one hand, it's not as visible. It's disgusting, but yeah, you get the idea. It's not as problematic. So it can also not be an issue at all. So I will have to see, I will decide. I can take the pictures with it as is and decide later. Now for the swatches, I'm gonna need both my hands, so now that you have seen this correctly, I can clip the mic again. There you go. So this, as a reminder, is the swatch on 4mm, and the gauge is 23 stitches. It's already very drapey, and you can see the density of the stitches. And then this one is on 4mm, and it's a lot more see-through, as you can tell, and the stitches are a lot less dense. Of course, the needle is a lot bigger. The gauge, this is 21 stitches, so it's exactly the gauge I was aiming for, but I don't really like the fabric. I mean, it's gorgeous, it's very drapey, it's very lightweight. I understand how this is something you would want for a garment, but it's a little bit too see-through, and it's not for me, having something this see-through. And the drape is gorgeous. It's even more flowy than the other one, for sure. But I don't need that much drape for this one. This is already a lot. I don't need more. And if the fabric wasn't see-through, I would definitely go for this one. But yeah, there is an issue that appears with the fact that the gauge is looser. So now I have the choice of going with a fabric. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that this one is better. I can either go for a fabric that's not the best, but hit gauge perfectly on the pattern, or I can go for this one that I prefer, and I can just knit a size. If my gauge is too small, I can just knit a size up, and like nobody is gonna see that the gauge is not the same. I mean, you cannot count when you see a picture, and if the final dimensions of the finished objects match what they should for the size I should knit for my measurements, it's all good. So I think for now what I think is that I'm going to cast on the 4mm with a gauge that's a little bit too small, but I'm going to grade for a 21 stitch gauge, and that way the gauge is going to be closer from the average knitter and not to a tight knitter like I am. And if you're a tight knitter like me, you can just do what I'm about to do, which is size up with your smaller gauge. And if you're an average knitter, which is going to be most of the people, you don't do anything and just knit at 21 stitch gauge. And if you're a slightly loose knitter and you want to knit like at 20 or 19 stitch gauge, you can size down. Same for the fingering weight version. So yeah, I think having a pattern being 27 stitch gauge and another one being 21 is good. And I think if I knit my own sample off gauge, but my measurements match what they should be if I was on gauge, it's gonna be fine. I can also just chill out and go with the one I prefer, instead of forcing myself to knit something I'm not gonna be 100% happy with, just for the sake of a pattern. And nobody's gonna see the difference anyway, so let's pretend I haven't told you anything. Let's pretend that this is 21 stitch gauge and I'm just gonna knit a size up, and if I say nothing, nobody's gonna notice, so yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to add. So I'm glad I did it, but now I can finally start with the fabric I like, and I finished my tank top, and I'm super happy with the result, and yeah, thanks for watching. Let you go back to present Maya. If you want to see more of me and my content, you can of course subscribe to my channel and also follow me on Instagram if you want more day-to-day updates, kind of my knitting adventures. Thanks a lot for your support, for your comments, for your likes, all of that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I said that already. I love you, happy knitting, and I hope to see you again in the next one.